Well, hello, everybody. It has been a wild day. This morning, I got to my office and I decided to pull up my Facebook, my email, normal things that I do when I get there. I pulled that up and I had seen a post from the ex-wife of the gentleman that we bought the house from, which happens to still be our neighbor, the gentleman is, and their son. I pulled it up and I see a post from her who she now lives out of the area, and she was trying to get a hold of them and making sure they were okay. And if anybody heard from them, to contact her. So I'm like, okay. Then I start to see pictures of devastation down in southeast Kentucky. The husband, the ex-husband, and the son live right across the street from us. You go down the little hill where we have the crater, and then there's a road. You go down a little tiny incline, and then, their house is right there. So this is very close. And I'm seeing flood pictures from literally down the street. I didn't know what to say. To be honest with you, 12 hours, actually even longer than that, about 15 hours after hearing this, I am still I don't even know what to say. Because this is not a flood area. When we purchased the home, I had actually asked the homeowner's insurance company about flood insurance. We could not get it because it was not in a flood zone. I didn't want to buy a house in a flood zone for obvious reasons, and, this was not a problem. Now, I will say that, we are on the side of a mountain, which the neighbor is not. The neighbor is kind of in a valley, because if you watch those Kentucky videos, the spring trip, which I encourage you to do, you'll kind of be able to see the layout better. But the neighbor is actually in a valley, because you have our mountain, then it goes down there, and then you go up on the other side behind him, and it actually is another mountain. So it's kind of a U shape, and they're sitting right in the bottom. So I'm frantic at this point, because I had texted him, saying, hey, basically, I know you don't have cell service, but when you get this, please call me. I want to make sure you're okay. Also, I had messaged a gentleman who lived up the road, Doug. You guys may have heard me mention him. I kind of figured I wasn't going to hear from any of them. So I started reaching out to other people who we don't really know as well, but we do know, the real estate agent being one. And I messaged her and said, hey, what the heck is going on? She sent me this picture, which this intersection is about, I would say 5, maybe 10 miles. It's probably more like 5. I don't really know the area too well down there yet. But it is very close to where we are. I'm starting to really freak out because I'm like, is our house even still there? I went on the camera app on my phone, and of course, there's no internet, no power, so the cameras are not working. I am really, really frantic at this point. After I was texting the real estate agent, I had gotten a phone call from Dwight, the neighbor, and he was just calling to just say they were okay. Unfortunately, the people who live right next door to him lost their home. Gone. The other challenging thing about this is right behind their house. Probably, I would say 60 feet or so from their back door is like a little stream. I say little, but you need a bridge to get over it. It is a decent size. There is a little body of water that travels there, and it wouldn't take much for that to overflow. And that's exactly what happened. Unfortunately, the neighbor's house was a little closer to that body of water than his house. Now, luckily, his house was okay. He said they were fine. It came within a couple feet of his home, but he was okay. The neighbors who had no home, they were actually staying with him. Additionally, down the road from us, which I mentioned again in that spring trip to Kentucky video, there was a cow farm. I don't know if it was dairy or meat. I have a feeling that they were probably dairy cows. I don't know 100%. Unfortunately, they were there in that valley area, and they did not make it. Also, lots of people lost horses, other livestock gone. It's devastating. There is a goat dairy up the road from us, the other direction from the cows, and I have not heard from them. We don't really even know them, but I would assume that is the same thing. They are probably gone. I don't know that for sure, but they were actually even a little lower in altitude than our neighbor Dwight. I was relieved to hear from them, and I was relieved that everything was okay with him, but I also want to know about our house, because the thing is, there is still some excavation equipment there. They are not done. So I'm having these visions of like excavators sliding out into the highway. I had asked, I said, is the house okay? Now, I want to add here, we had to call back each other a couple times because the cell service was very bad. So, I'm even more frantic now because I'm having trouble hearing him. But I did manage to get a good connection with him and chat with him for a few minutes. And he did say everything was fine at the house. There was no damage. There was some water that came over the crater area, but it was nothing real serious. And he said everything was fine. Praise God. We are very fortunate. I'm at a loss for words of this whole situation. I can't even believe it. It is just insane. None of these pictures and none of these videos are mine. I don't really know the original source for all of them, so I did not, I can't really, unfortunately, give credit where credit is due. But there are so many videos and so many pictures of just devastation. It is just so sad. The reason why I'm making this video is to let everybody know that, our house is still there. It's okay. This is a freak thing. The elevation saved us tremendously. I would say that if we were in that valley, our house may not be there or may be severely flooded. So praise God for that. Sorry to jump in here, guys, but I felt I should. I was going on in the next segment that I have edited out about a nonprofit. At the time of recording, I was looking for a nonprofit down there to donate to who would be helping this region. I'm not very big on the national nonprofits who go in there. I wanted to connect with a local church or other organization that was working directly with the people who would get them what they need, and the money would go to them. I spent the day today, I recorded this beginning part of this and the ending part of this video last night that you will see in a moment, and I spent some of the day today trying to connect with people down there to find such nonprofit down there that was working. And I found a church who I actually spoke via Facebook Messenger with the pastor, and he assured me that everything was going directly to them, and them being the people affected in these counties. This is growing. There are, I believe there are close to 30 deaths right now, and there are so many people without food, water, shelter, all those different things. This, unfortunately, requires a check. There is no electronic means to transfer these funds. It does require a check, but the information to send the check is in the description below. I know it requires a lot to send checks these days. We're so used to just clicking buttons and sending money halfway across the world in 10 seconds, but these people really need it. And if you are looking for a nonprofit who is going to be using this money to go directly to the people affected by this tragedy, I would highly, highly recommend that you do so by sending that check to church in the description below. I think from everybody that I've talked to, this is a very reputable church. It's also a very reputable pastor who is actively working to make sure that the people in these counties are taken care of as much as possible. Back to the video. This is just catastrophic. And the sad part is you can have homeowners insurance all you want, but flood insurance, at least where we are for our property, was not an option. So a lot of these people lost everything, and there's no way for them to get it back. As we all know, inflation is at an all-time high. Supplies are hard to come by, and that makes everything 10 times worse. So to add another layer to this, just so that people understand, is we are having issues with our homeowners insurance company down there, and I am working on finding another. And one that I had actually talked to, it might have been a week ago, might not have been, I'm not sure. And they had actually said that they upped their minimum coverages. So, they no longer offer anything under like $100,000 for your home because of building prices and availability. In other words, Those houses you could rebuild for $80,000 are now $100,000 or $120,000 because of the inflation and because of the material prices. This is extremely serious. It is a horrible, horrible thing. Some of these videos and pictures I'm just showing you because they are what people have sent me, what I've seen on Facebook through different people who are down there, and my heart just absolutely breaks. I don't know what to say. But please, whether you donate to the link in the description or whether you find your own, I would highly encourage you to do this if you are able, because so many of these people, so many, are going to get nothing. And that is the sad part. This is going to be something that is ongoing, obviously. The power, I did just check our cameras before I started recording this, and they're not up yet. I don't expect them to be up for a while. We also had heard from someone in the area that says that we are not able to get to our home because the roads to get there are out. So many people that I talked to, including Dwight, who has lived in this area his whole life, says he's never seen anything like this. The other thing that I want to mention is when I wasn't sure if our house was still there, I pulled up the last footage on the camera, and there's nothing. Like, I see a little bit of wind. I don't see any rain. Like, maybe a little bit of sprinkles, but it's not anything like what happened. And so this was extremely fast. It happened, I think areas it was a little different depending on exactly where you were, but I hear it was around 2 to 3 in the morning. So this just made everything worse because people were sleeping. And nobody expected this, right? I've seen so many heartbreaking Facebook posts about, my uncle is at such and such address. And, in fact, I just saw one a couple minutes ago where somebody was holding somebody else's head above water and they couldn't get anybody to rescue them. These people are some of the best people I have ever met in my life. And some of them I don't know. Obviously, a lot of them I don't know. But most of these people are genuinely kind people and loving people, and they have families. And this is just unprecedented, but it is also catastrophic, and it is widespread. I just wanted to say that our home is okay. Our neighbors are okay. There is lots of damage, and the videos that you're seeing on the news do not do this justice. It is far worse from what I've seen and what you've seen in this video than we can imagine. And this video is not like ones that I normally record. I really like to be uplifting and things, but I just can't find it in me to do that right now. So, unfortunately, this video is very depressing, and I'm sorry for that. But I felt like it was important to just pass the information along. Pray. If there's any way you can help financially, I would encourage you to do that as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. God bless you all.